For months now, Star Wars fans have expected The Acolyte to be the biggest disaster we've ever seen when it comes to Disney Star Wars. And that's saying something, considering some of the crap that they've put out over the past decade plus. But a lot of people didn't expect it to go so bad before this thing even premiered. Tuesday, June 4th is when this thing officially comes out, and a lot of people are expected to hate it, but who knows? We'll see when the time comes. But just in the press tour, we've already seen them doing damage control. Kathleen Kennedy coming out and saying, you know what? Star Wars fans, there's a lot of men in the fan base, and they're really toxic. It's hard for women because of those toxic men. Star Wars fans are just so sexist. Where Leslie Headland herself already heading off some criticism and saying, you know what? I'm all for fans voicing their minds, but if you say anything bad about some of these characters, you're just a sexist, racist bigot, and you aren't a real Star Wars fan. The same shit, the same attacks we've seen year after year when it comes to failing Star Wars projects. We're already seeing those preemptive strikes against fans. And now that people are seeing some of the comments come out of the press tour, this shit just continues to get worse. First, it was the New York Times article that came out, which I have it on the way back machine because I'm not going to pay to read a New York Times article. Leslie Headland hopes the Force is with the Acolyte. This massive puff piece that is praising the diversity, the representation, and saying that Star Wars fans are just so impossible to please and they should really stop trying to. But even this, let's just read a couple of these fucking paragraphs right here. Amandla Stenberg stars as a dreadlocked warrior who has a complicated relationship with Jedi Master played by Lee Jung-jae from Squid Game. Jodie Turner-Smith plays the lesbian leader of a regal coven of witches, while Filipino actor Manny Jacinto appears as a shadowy traitor. They don't have anything else to talk about except diversity and representation, which is why they put all those things before they introduce each and every one of these characters. And at some point in time, I might do an entire stream reading every single thing about this article because they get into how she hired writers that don't know what Star Wars is just because they're black women. It's fucking insane. But of course, people had to speak out as well. We've heard Jodie Turner-Smith. We've heard Charlie Bennett. We've heard all of them at Star Wars Celebration prove that they know nothing about Star Wars, preaching about how there's never been any women in Star Wars. There's never been any black people in Star Wars. There's never been any representation in Star Wars. And now you got these people continuing to make fools of themselves. This press tour is a complete and total catastrophe. And this, of course, got roasted by virtually everyone. Star Wars The Acolyte actor claims Anakin Skywalker blew up the Death Star and that recent Disney Star Wars shows did not feature Jedi. And it's true. Charlie Bennett right here, who said that I didn't think I could be a Jedi because no one ever looked like me, who's also gay, by the way. What a shock. Virtually everyone in this show is fucking gay or bi or trans or something. You can have a misspeak, okay? Misspeaks happen. I misspeak all the time. But when you have the same misspeak twice in two separate interviews and nobody fucking corrects you, you got to wonder, does this motherfucker actually think that this happened? Does he actually think that Anakin Skywalker blew up the Death Star? You don't have to be some hardcore Star Wars fan to know that it was Luke Skywalker who blew up the Death Star. But nonetheless, let's listen to some of this shit.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that?
Yeah.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that? Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that?
Now, the more you listen to it, the worse it gets. But you can see by the people sitting next to him, this is one interview. You can forgive that. He mixed up a name, whatever. What about this?
I did get in trouble for this answer at Star Wars Con. I got heat.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it's so funny to me because it literally, as a person who's outside and just a fan coming in, that was what was so beautiful and interesting to me. You know, people have been talking to me online about how Darth Vader is such a bad person. It's very clear, and it's very well established from those actions. But if you can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this right now.
You should just shut up.
How does nobody correct him? That's my question. How does nobody else fucking correct him on this entire thing? And both of these interviews, by the way, fucking ratioed to hell. The one on Nerds of Color with less than 5,000 subscribers, yet they're part of this tour. That's fucking ratioed. The one on Collider interviews, that's ratioed to hell as well. But this isn't the only thing that's getting some pushback. Chief Creative Officer of Lucasfilm, Dave Filoni, makes bizarre claim. I don't think Anakin ever thinks he became evil in life. And this is, of course, a sit down between the future of Star Wars right here. I know I've been shit talking Dave Filoni for 5 fucking years here on YouTube. I used to get some heat for it. I don't really get much heat anymore because I feel like I've been proven right about basically everything about this dude. But him and Leslie Headland sat down to talk some Star Wars, guys. And right now, let me see if I can do a refresh on this. It's almost ratioed on Star Wars official YouTube channel. Dave Filoni and Leslie Headland speaking, almost fucking ratioed. How pathetic is that? Let's refresh it. See what
two directors talk about Star Wars.
Oh, it's catching up. 3.5 to 3.7. Let's just listen to a little bit of this.
About Star Wars.
That sounds good.
That does sound good. Let's do it. Tell me about the Acolyte.
I'm sorry, just you asking me that question is making me cry.
Is it? That's all right.
Yeah.
It is a big deal to a lot of people.
There's so much estrogen in this interview. I think all of it's coming from Dave Filoni, to be honest. If there's any testosterone, it's coming from her.
Affects people in different ways, and this is your story, so.
What I was interested in examining were the Sith. The master-apprentice dynamic. If the apprentice is craving the master's power, then at some point he must recruit his apprentice to overthrow the master.
Yeah.
And that is the Acolyte.
Right.
Now, I just want to point out how insane it is for Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, because that's who Leslie Headland is. She was the personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, talking about how apprentices crave their master's power. No wonder she wanted to do a fucking story about the Sith. Now, there's a lot of things to dig apart in all these, like the idea that the apprentice would recruit their apprentice to help overthrow. That's not how it happens. It's supposed to be 1v1. As soon as the apprentice is more powerful than the master, they're supposed to challenge them, take them on. That was the rule of 2. That's how it was supposed to work. Not a team up against a master, or else you'd have a apprentice that wasn't worthy of taking that on. But that's a different fucking story.
And that is the Acolyte.
Right.
Who trained you? You don't wake up thinking you're evil or that you're the bad guy, as explored by George and Anakin.
Yeah, I don't think Anakin ever thinks he becomes evil.
I agree.
Life,
and I think a lot of the characters in the Acolyte have to convince.
Now I'm going to stop that. Dave Filoni, I don't think Anakin thinks he ever became evil in life. So that would imply that only in death did Anakin realize he was evil. Maybe a little bit got cut out. I don't know. But I feel like there was this movie called Return of the Jedi, where through about half of the movie, you see Darth Vader clearly being regretful of how things have happened. It's too late for me, son. Like the Emperor will show you the power of the dark. It's too late for me. I can't be redeemed. He clearly understands that what's been happening to him, or what he's been doing, is evil, is wrong, is bad. And then he fucking turns back at the end. Like, what are you talking about that he never thought he was evil in life? Now, if you want to say the vast majority of the time he was falling, he didn't think that was evil, I could buy into that. But what the fuck are we talking about here? This entire press tour, whether it's the actors, whether it's the creators, whatever might be involved, this thing has been a nightmare for Lucasfilm. And clearly, I mean, just look at this. Look at their last several videos. Look at how much Acolyte stuff they're fucking putting out. This is just in the past 4 days. Look at all the stuff they've been putting out, let alone all the massive press tour that they've been doing. With $180 million invested in this thing, they need it to be a hit. And I do not think that that is going to happen. This press tour has done more damage than it's helped them, and just continues to get worse. I guess we'll see what the final product actually is. The Acolyte coming to Disney Plus in just a few days.